All right, Shalom. First, I want to start off by giving all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakar Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone Ruel. Honors and salutations to you fellow laborers out there doing the work in truth and in sincerity, especially during these times. Shalom to the few Akwaf that believe as well. Shalom to you other laborers and believers that are scattered throughout the face of the earth, even if you're among the heathen and like excuse me, and look like the heathen who are speckled Israelites, to the household of faith, which the elect. I want to say Shalom. I'm along with the brother Shakya, and just want to chime in on this famine because this famine will come as prophesied in the Holy Scriptures, and this is part of our job is to warn you tribes and also be a prophet unto the nations to tell you what the Lord is getting ready to perform on this earth, which is going to bring a famine on this earth, right? To rid the wicked, man. So with that being said, this is an article from RT News. It says war on Iran could trigger global famine. Charity founder. It says disruption of fertilizer shows through the Strait of Hormuz could slash harvests. Jose Angeles of World Central Kitchen has warned. Disruptions to fertilizer supplies caused by the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran risk triggering a multi-year food crisis, globally. World Central Kitchen founder Jose Andres has warned. Tensions around the Strait of Hormuz have already driven up energy prices and routed the global economy, disrupting one of the world's most important trade arteries. And that's true. Everyone's feeling the effect, of the Straits of Hormuz, and of course, it's prophecy that the Lord will gather those nations in that region, which is the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is Yahweh Shaphat in the Hebrew, to judge those nations for what they've done to us, his people, us Israelites, and also what they've done against him, and pretty much that's all prophetic events going on, and also this famine. All right. Matter of fact, let me grab we're gonna get Matthew 24. Okay, if I may, Matthew 24. All right, getting into the signs that the Lord gave us to know what would be going on. I don't know why I read. One second, bear with me 1 second. All right. So this is Matthew 24:7. Go right to the point. It says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in different places. All these are beginning of sorrows." And this is something that is supposed to be in red, but some reason my app is tripping. But that's the words of Yahweh Shai himself. He said what? That all these things will be going on leading up to his second coming. And we're seeing these things play out in the earth today. This is how you know that the book of Habakkuk 2, all right, is totally in effect when it says that, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, it will surely come. And we watching it come. You got some out? No. Yeah, so yeah, we're watching it come, man, and it's beautiful, man, to see that prophecy is coming to pass, man. And this is what we look forward to because we hasten the day of our Lord's coming. Continuing the article, it says the root handles around 20% of global crude exports, but it is also critical for shipments of nitrogen-based fertilizers. And when you get into nitrogen, that's the main compound that your land needs to grow crops. And when you don't have it, or you have a lack thereof, you don't produce or yield good crops for the most part. So it's very critical to agriculture. Okay. Matter of fact, let's get into this word nitrogen, right? I may. Web search that. It says nitrogen-based fertilizers are essential nutrient-rich substances such as urea, ammonium nitrate, and manure applied to soil to promote rapid green leafy plant growth, boost crop yields, and support chlorophyll production. Oh, your body needs chlorophyll. That heal the deep tissues and different ailments in the body as far as like scar tissue and all that stuff. It aids in the fight against different cancers and different things like that. So you need chlorophyll. That's a part of in your daily greens. It says these fertilizers work by providing nitrogen for essential amino acids and energy production. Right, because that's a part of gut health. All right, your gut health. Amino acids help break down the food. Excuse me, and also turn the good food into energy, so that the body can use it and you be energized basically. Your body taking the food, it becomes energy, and it get rid of the waste, things like that. So it says they are used for agricultural crops, lawns, and gardening. So yeah, this is a critical thing. Okay, let's get back to the article. It says speaking to, and you got a precept out, just bring it out, bro.
All right.
It says, you got one?
Yeah.
We'll bring it out.
2 Ezra 16 verse. Actually, no, it's like what's that? Oh yeah, I'll just start there. It's kind of a decent amount.
Yeah, bring it out.
2 Ezra 16 verse 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days. The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague.
You can speak on that if you want.
God. So yeah, hey, this is what's coming. All right, we're at the beginning stages of famine setting in. All right, war on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
All right, of America. All right, because with shit just going up and people not, receiving money to what's the word? Basically, people are not, at their jobs they're staying at the same pay rate.
Oh, they don't receive increased wages.
Yeah, while shit is going up. So that's gonna cause, and shit is gonna constantly keep on going up,
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna cause, people to be lacking out here. All right, they're not gonna be able to feed their families. All right, things of that nature. All right, which is gonna lead to more. It's gonna lead to these people coming at each other.
Yep, 2 Ezra 15.
Yep. Verse 19. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for a minute. And see, all this is basically to. It's a clear sign that Yahweh Shem Shai is doing this, But what? Jake don't take it as that. Jake take it as what? This is gonna die down. This ain't really that serious, But it's okay, You're gonna see once shit start getting worse and worse and worse, to a point where your ass ain't eating.
Mm-hmm.
Your body is eating at itself. They ain't gonna understand like, hey, this shit was serious,
Okay.
It says, but for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor always be mindful of the scourges.
And also, too, the word amendment goes into correction. Okay. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall great evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the others that escape the hunger shall destroy, escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So yeah, that's what we're seeing on this earth. Going into that article, it's obvious that famine is on the rise.
Mm-hmm.
And we Esau is just manufacturing this famine basically.
Yep.
Because just like what I was going into not too long ago, before the video cut on, right, there's agriculture all over the place.
Yep.
Shit, we can, in our backyards, we can have our little, gardens and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, Esau's making it seem like, oh, the Strait of Hormuz,
Mm-hmm.
But nah, this is what they want.
Yep.
But this is all the fulfillment of prophecy.
Okay. Yeah, and I brought this out right here because I was talking with the brother. I was like, they basically besieging America as far as the elites, and that's what's going on. It says, I typed in what's a biblical besiege. A biblical besiege is the surrounding of a city or stronghold by an enemy army to force its surrender via starvation, isolation, or violence, often representing divine judgment or harsh military conflict in the Old Testament. Now, one of the main things it says what? Via starvation, right? And it says what? By the enemy army. Well, think about it. Why do you think the troops was positioned in all these states?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think the ICE agents took over the airport? One of the main travel points. It's like what 1 or 2 million people travel every day by flight. So there you go, man. This is clearly what's going on. The elites are besieging America. Okay? Now I got a video I want to play. I want to say fair use. Of course, my videos are not monetized. Only for literary commentary and educational purposes. So with that, fair use. Let's see what Snyder Reports is going into about. Okay? Under 1976, Section 107 Fair Use Act, fair use.
This has got to be the scariest news we have seen in years. And I'm talking about going back to 2020 and the chaos that the world experienced at that time. Right now, farmers across the United States and really around the world are already warning that we are destined for a food crisis. It's going to happen here in the United States as well as other countries as well. But what we are hearing is that without fertilizer, which is the big issue right now, I talked to a friend of mine, I'll explain what he's doing, but without fertilizer, we can't feed 8.3 billion people. No, we can really only feed between 1 to 2 billion people. That means we can potentially, at most, feed a quarter of the world's population. How scary is that? Look at some.
And so, that's the reality, man. That's the reality. So that show you that a lot of people want to starve out here. Okay? And that's not a fun way to die. Matter of fact, if I may get this precept in the book of Limitations, right? Let's get Limitations.
If I may say too,
Go ahead.
because of what the Georgia Guidestone, within their commandments or whatever, they say that basically they want the Earth population to be 500 million, and what that was just explaining right there, because ain't no way all this greenery on this earth, there could be a famine, of the whole world,
Mm-hmm.
to the point where 8.3 billion can't be fed.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously they're doing this shit on purpose, and this is what they want,
Mm-hmm. Because the MOTB, when they bring it online, guess what? Oh, we got food now, but you gotta have this MOTB so we can track, what you're consuming.
Right.
Lamentations 4 and verse 9, it says, "They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger." See, so it's better to be slain with the sword better than those that die of hunger, because hunger is a slow, horrible, way to die. In other words, man. So a lot of people want to die out here, of this famine, because why? They don't well, I'll speak on our people, the Israelites. The Israelites are the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American people, and they don't believe, that this is going to happen. It says that, they didn't put far away the evil day, and who does that more than our people? They don't believe shit gonna happen till shit happens, man. And this is a forewarning. Okay, go ahead.
Second Measures 9 and verse 20. Second Measures 9 and 20. It says, "So I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that were come into it." All right. So peril goes into dangers. All right. And devices goes into plans. All right. So the plans of the elites. All right. It's gonna cause very dangerous times. All right. Just like Hardad was saying, what they're gonna make niggas comply through manufacturing, famine. That's definitely gonna make a nigga comply. They can't eat. They hear their woman, their children crying. They gonna once they come out with that MOTB, like, hey, you need to take this, so we can make sure everybody's eating the same amount. But you are gonna have consistent meals. They're gonna line up to get it.
Yep.
And this is gonna catch a lot of people. As the scripture said, what? We are not ignorant of Satan's devices. We understand that, hey, this so-called white man, he's doing this shit on purpose.
Okay.
He's doing this shit on purpose, and our emotions are not caught up into it. Because if you're emotional, your emotions is caught into it. You can be like, oh, why is this going on, or why, or we need to find a solution. But hey, understand the prophecy is like, hey, this is supposed to go on.
Yep. All right, let's go read a little more of the article. It says, back in the article, speaking to The Guardian on Thursday, Andres said delays in fertilizer deliveries risk missing critical planting windows, reducing yields in subsequent harvests, and fueling a chain reaction of lower output and higher food prices. Right. Well, let's grab that in Revelation. It speaks about it. Let me get that real quick. See? Food prices are going to go up. I ought to tell you something. I mean, you can read it. I'm here, but you can read it when you get it.
I got you. Revelation 6 and verse 6. Revelation 6 and 6. "And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine."
Right. So you go into the breakdown of it. It's gonna take what? A day's wages, all right, to have a meal. So that's when you're going to have a thing called hyperinflation. Okay, a day's wages for a meal. Right now you can still buy, groceries and shit and come up with, some meals. About how you grocery shop, depending on where you grocery shop at. By the way, but for the most part, hey man, shit. Like the brother went into earlier, your wages not going up. So guess what? You're gonna have money to purchase things anyway. Right on top of your purchasing power, it's gonna go out the window when hyperinflation kicks in. Because that's what's coming. Hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is due to what? The Straits of Hormuz, this war. Okay, war costs, and who bear that burden of that cost? It's the people, the commoners. You pay the price because why? You're the ones that's on the bottom. You don't have to foot the bill. That's it on that. Let's go back. And you know what? By the way, that's when Haggai 1 and 6 is gonna really, really take effect. Like we feel it right now, but Haggai 1 and 6 is gonna really be something gonna hit. It's gonna be a prophecy that's gonna hit hard real soon. Okay, and I want to say this: the jobs are drying up too. So ain't gonna be many people with jobs out here. You know, that's something to think about too. But let's continue on. It says, it is not only oil that leaves through the Strait of Hormuz. I foresee a very big increase in famine across the world by the fall of 2026 and 2027. He said, warning that shipping turmoil in and around Hormuz is already tightening fertilizer supplies and pushing up costs for farmers. Okay, and the farmers already pretty much very few. They already have few in number, and I'm still going bankrupt. Have to foreclose their farms due to a hit on agriculture. They're not bringing in profits. A lot of their workers got deported. All that stuff plays a factor. Seed failing, no fertilizer. You know, so this is what's going on, man. A famine is being orchestrated by the elites, but hey, it's all according to biblical prophecy, man. So this is the book of Ezekiel 14, in I start verse 12. It says, "The word of the Lord came again to me, saying, Son of man, when the land sinneth against me by trespassing grievously, then will I stretch out my hand upon it, and will break the staff of bread thereof, and will send famine upon it, and will cut off man and beast from it." And that's America. It speaks about that, how the Lord gonna cut off man and beast in the book of Isaiah 14. All right. And it says what? The land that sinned against the Lord. America has sinned against the Lord greatly. That's why it says what? Revelation 18. Also, what's that? Jeremiah 51. Her sins are reaching to heaven. So the sins of Babylon, or America, as you call it, has reached into heaven, into the ears of the Lord. Okay? And he's going to recompense his place for everything, that they did against him, and against his anointed, and against his people. Okay? So we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to this place falling, man. All right, your end is near. Okay? Your end is near, and we can see it through the Spirit, man. Because why? We're watching the prophecies, man. But he that gives his mind, to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out seek out the wisdom of the ancient and be occupied in prophecies. Roughly paraphrasing, that's Sirach 39 and 1, I believe it is. So basically, like, the whole thing is we watching for prophecy, man. Prophecy is everything. Prophecy is the spirit of Yahweh Shai's prophecy, man. If you claim to be a follower of Yahweh Shai, you got to be in the spirit of prophecy. When we come on these video clips, they do these epistles and street ministry, we're prophesying. Okay? You got some up?
Mm-hmm. Because the famine, all right, it pushes, people to do, crazy things. And just like an account I'm finna get, 2 Kings 6 and verse 26. And as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, Help my lord, O king. And he said, If the Lord do not help thee, when shall I come? Or when shall I help thee? Out of the barnful, or out of the winepress?
Mm-hmm.
And the king said unto her, What allieth thee? And she answered, This woman said unto me, Give thy son that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son and did eat him. And I said unto her on the next day, Give thy son that we may eat him. And she hath hid her son. So see, this is just an example of what people can do when famine is on the rise. All right, when famine is out here, all right,
Yep.
When there ain't no food, people are going to be consulting amongst each other, like, hey, we're gonna eat your child, and we're gonna eat mine. That's it. That's how bad. That's what hunger does to the people. Especially somebody that doesn't have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
a servant of Yahweh Shai ain't gonna do that. You know, because what? They understand that this has to come to pass. And we understand prophecy. Alright, we understand that what? Yahweh Shai said that what? My servant shall eat, but he shall be hungry. You know, so we understand, hey, we're gonna eat while these niggas out here, being hungry, you know.
Got it. This is the book of Ezekiel 7 and 15. It says, the sword is without, and the pestilence and famine within. He that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. So, hey, man, the Lord's not fucking around, man. He's about to bring forth judgment. And guess what? If you're not right with Yahweh Shai, you're going to be destroyed, man. Simple and plain, man. The Lord has his elect, and that's it. All right, we're hoping to be a part of his elect. And if not, hey, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, because it's your will. You know? But Lord willing, be a part of that number. You know, make it on the chariot and see this place go down, man, be the best feeling ever, man. You know? But anyways, with that, man, we're going to close. I'm going to say, you got any more precepts out? You know, I didn't want to close without you bring out whatever you had, but hey, we're going to close and give all honor, glory, and praises again to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Kodash. Again, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who well. Shalom to you fellow laborers out there doing the work in truth and sincerity, especially during these times again. Shalom to the few Akwaf that believe as well. And shalom to the whole elect of the nation of Israel, Yasha Allah, which consists of the so-called Negro Latino American people. All right. Shalom.